Time for another episode of Day Drinking and Tarot, and today we are at a brand new wine shop called Mise, and we are in Scottsdale, Arizona. Can't wait to check this out. Let's do a little tarot, some day drinking, and talk some transformation. Come join me. Fabulous wine tasting place called Mise, and I'm just so excited. I actually had different plans today and was going to go to the West Valley and had another place entirely picked out. And as luck would have it, and I want to say as the intuitive flow is when we are living an intuitive life, I just felt like, you know what, I'm here in a location, why not take advantage of what is here now rather than driving, 20 minutes or 30 minutes or 40 minutes to this other place. And I discovered this place, and oh my God, I have to tell you, it's been the most amazing journey. So I did not announce myself. I just showed up and I walked in, and there was a wine rep here. Her name is Claudia. She's fabulous. And she was connecting with the owner, Lynn, and I got to meet the owner and this fabulous wine rep, and she included me in the wine tasting. So I got a really fun wine tasting. I got to shoot the shit with the owner. It was just delightful, and I was not expecting any of that. And now here I am, and we are doing our episode, and I want to introduce you to the card that we are going to be talking about, and it is the Tower. Dun, dun, dun. So the Tower card is one of, I want to say, 3 cards in the major arcana where people get really nervous when it pops up. So we've already gone through the Death card. We connected with the Devil last week, and now we are here with the Tower card. And let's talk about that Tower card. The Tower card is complete and utter oblivion. It is the shock of your life. It is the, for those of you who are familiar with Back to the Future, it's the lightning strike on the clock tower. Save the clock tower, save the clock tower. You can't predict when lightning is going to strike. And that is what the Tower card is all about. And here's what we need to know about the Tower. The Tower shows up in our lives when we're too comfortable. We aren't here as souls to come into this life to set ourselves up, get nice and cushy, and then just live everything out where everything is the same and normal and predictable and comfortable. That's not what we're here to do. We're here to grow. We're here to expand. Yes, we have moments and pockets of comfortable in our lives, but we don't necessarily have that throughout the entire life process. And I'm sure there are some souls out there, some lovely souls out there who have chosen that path. And I say hats off to you and congratulations. I don't know why my soul chose not to do that, but here we are. But that Tower energy is really a catalyst for you when it shows up in your life. It says you're too comfortable, there's something you need to do, or kind of like the Wheel of Fortune, it tends to be a course correction. So I like to say sometimes the universe throws us little breadcrumbs, throws us little hints. Hey, have you thought about this? Hey, you woke up with a dream that you might be losing your job and it freaked you out. But you were like, okay, I can't think about that today. I'll think about that tomorrow. So you ignore it. And then a week later, your work husband or your work wife ends up getting fired or getting laid off. And you go, oh my God, that's awful. And you think, I hope this doesn't happen to me. And you ignore the sign. You ignore the synchronicity. And then your boss comes in and gives you shit about something that's going on in the day. And you're like, why is this happening? I did everything I possibly could to do all the things right. Why is this happening now? All of these things come up. It's coming up because your guides are trying to tell you, hey, it's time to move on. It's time to move forward, but you're not listening. And so then the universe is like, and your guides are like, all right, we've shown them. We've given them all the opportunities to figure this out. We need to course correct, or we're trying to prepare them for something, and they're not getting it. So then you get the universal frying pan to the head, and that is the Tower. Complete and utter ruin. Where you can't come back from it. This is the situation where you are standing there watching the tower burning. You're watching it burn down. It's burning so badly that the fire crew can't even start to fight the fire because it's too hot, it's too high. You've got to wait for it to come down to a point where then they can get into it. And you're watching in shock. You're watching in complete and total, it's just shock. Let's just call it what it is. It's shock. And you're thinking, oh my God, how can I recover from this? How is this going to shift and change? What can I do about this? When you come out the other side of it and all the dust has settled and the fire is out and you're walking around the rubble, you might walk through and pick up the occasional thing that you can take with you moving forward. But ultimately, it is an invitation. Well, I would say it's more than an invitation. It's kind of a resolute situation that says, we tried to tell you, you needed to move, you needed to shift, you needed to make some different choices. And instead, you didn't listen, you got scared, you weren't able to go with the flow. So shit happened. And now you're picking up some pieces from the rubble, but now it's about moving forward. And that's what this Tower card is for. So I'm really excited because, of course, I've met the owner and he agreed to come on camera with us today. He is picking out a wine for us as we speak, and it is a wine that is going to reflect the Tower. So let's connect with Lynn and see what delicious wine he's got in store for us. This is Lynn, and Lynn owns this fabulous wine tasting place, Mise in Scottsdale, and he has picked out the most incredible wine for our Tower experience. And Lynn, tell us a little bit about what we're about to drink.
So this is 100% Gamay, but when we think of Gamay, we usually think of Beaujolais. This comes from a little region tucked in between Beaujolais and the Rhone, near Lyon, the Coteau de Lyon. From a great producer. They're known really more for Northern Rhone Syrah, but I feel like this gives you the best of Beaujolais and the Northern Rhone. So you get a little bit more muscle with your Gamay. Hard to find. We don't see much of this in the United States. It's kind of the Lyonnais keep it to themselves. But if you love Gamay and you love Northern Rhone Syrah, this scratches both of those itches.
I love it. And in terms of when we're talking about this fabulous Tower card, it being about kind of kicking yourself out of the comfort zone and into something else, you were explaining to me that it's kind of like this tiny little region in between two regions,
This
right?
is a lightning strike that blows that tower up. It's like, oh my God, this is like something completely different. It's amazing aspects of Beaujolais, but you can seriously get some of that Rhone kind of quality. It just shakes things up. We know what we know, right? We know Napa Cab, we know Bordeaux, we know Burgundy, but this is it's fun to get out of your comfort zone.
Yes.
And blow up that clock tower, I guess.
I love it.
Cheers.
Cheers to you. Let's check it out. Oh, so this is definitely a tower experience. Not at all what I expected, which of course is all about the tower. It just shows up unexpectedly, and you got to figure it out. Whether you like it or you don't, you got to make it work. And I want to say it's light, not heavy. It's got a bit of a jammy experience, but there's also a little minerality in this.
Definitely, you get that the minerality is there.
Yeah.
It packs a punch for Gamay. It's not. I think we think of Gamay as just being this lightweight, but this has some serious flavor.
Yeah.
Some nice tannins, great minerality, no doubt.
And there's a great peppery to it. Like there's that peppery bite. And I feel like when we are in a tower experience, that peppery bite is exactly what we're feeling. We're looking at everything and going, holy fuck balls, what exactly is going on? And it's going to spice and flavor the decisions that we make moving forward. This really hits the mark. You did a great job, Lynn.
Holy fuck balls. That's the perfect tasting note for this one.
It's a new tasting note. Sommeliers, take note. This is the next level in
Love it.
wine tasting. I have this fabulous wine in hand and connecting with the energy of the tarot, let's have a little chat about what the Tower card means in terms of that Phoenix journey, in terms of transformation. So I have mentioned in previous episodes and previous segments that I received an unexpected text from my landlords of 5 years when I was living in North Carolina that they were increasing my rent by a really significant amount of money, and that I could stay if I was willing to pay that. But I knew that I wasn't able to pay that. I knew that that was not going to work, and that it was the catalyst for me to move into something new. But I didn't know what that looked like. And that moment when I received the text, it felt literally like someone had kicked me in the gut. Nobody likes to be told, you know, I've been an owner, a home owner. I've also been a home renter for, you know, a number of years. I've kind of been there and done it all. I've been a landlord. I've done it all. Nobody likes to be told that they have to move. You know, you're being forced to move. And that's one of the cons, one of the downsides to renting is you don't own the space. And so if the owner decides at any point that they don't want to rent to you any longer, they don't want to work with you any longer, or, you know, they're doing something else or selling the place, that is one of the risks that you take when you are renting. And for me, I'll explain to you sort of the journey of the Tower card for me. So I had that Tower card moment. That was definitely for me a universal frying pan to the head. And here's why. I had been feeling for at least 2 years prior to this experience that North Carolina was outgrowing me and I was outgrowing it. There were a lot of shifts in my life, a huge amount of shifts in my friendships and my relationships. There was a huge shift in my connections with clients and who I was connecting with and how I wanted to connect. I had been through a sort of a devastating experience and was recovering. I was going through the process of grief and therefore trying to figure out how I could come back from that, right? The phoenix burning, how do I rise from the ashes? And I was nowhere near being ready to rise, but I could feel the stirrings of it. And in February of 2024, I woke up with what I call an Arizona dream. Now, what does that mean? Ever since I arrived in Arizona at 22 or 23 years of age, I can't even remember when it was, I was going to Arizona for the first time for an audition. I was an opera singer and I was traveling the globe, you know, doing the whole thing, right? Think actor in Hollywood. That was my path, only it was opera. And when I landed in Phoenix, when I landed in Arizona, it was like a freaking spiritual experience. There was so much connection to this land. I've been to a lot of different places on this planet. Nowhere has felt like home. Landing here, it was home. It was like, oh my God, I've never been here, but I feel like I've been here before. And I feel like this is where I'm supposed to be. So that was at 23. I am forever 30, as we know. And so it's been a while. And whenever I had the opportunity to vacation in Arizona, to go back to Arizona, I took it. This was a place where I could feel a really deep soul recharge. And whenever I was here and I had to leave, it was like I would cry every single time. It was like being ripped away from the only place that I felt safe and alive and energized. And I'm not saying that I haven't felt those things in other places that I've lived. I've just not had that level of connection with the place that I've lived before. So that was something new and interesting. Fast forward to having an opportunity, I want to say maybe 3 years after the first time that I had visited Arizona, I had an opportunity to move to Arizona to be a flight attendant with America West, which doesn't exist any longer. And things just didn't work out. Things didn't work out. I was here for a time. I thought this was where I was supposed to go, but it wasn't the right timing. And so the universe gave me a taste. And speaking of tower moments, that was a big tower moment for me too. I was totally leaning in my life. And then the universal rug was pulled out from under me and I was absolutely devastated. And ever since that moment, there was a lot of depression, there was a lot of grief, there was a lot of not understanding what was transpiring, and there was a lot of healing that happened. That tower moment was a catalyst for me to heal and to figure out exactly who I wanted to become and to do the work that I needed to do in order to become that. North Carolina, and I've had another tower moment that has completely eradicated life as I know it. And I'm, again, trying to figure things out, trying to rebirth myself, trying to get through, all the things and the stuff. All of these years, from the first time that I landed in Arizona, I would have Arizona dreams. And those Arizona dreams would be me living in Arizona, me building my life in Arizona, me experiencing the desert in Arizona. And these weren't past life dreams. These weren't, hoobity-floob, psychic, pie in the sky experiences. I've had my share of those regarding Arizona, but that's not what these dreams were. These Arizona dreams were my dreams as Stacy in this body, saying, this is what I want. And for a long time, every time I would have one of these dreams, it would be me living there and moving there. And I would get so excited and I would get online and I would start doing the research and I, put my name on a list to purchase a home and what that would require and what I would need to do and all the things and the stuff. And I would get so disappointed and so let down every single time that it wouldn't pan out. And I didn't realize at the time that it was really about timing, that initial tower card was a catalyst for me to start thinking about things in a different way. Yes, you're going to live in Arizona. Now is not the right time. There are still some things that you need to do in other places with other people before you can move here, before it is fully successful, before it is going to be all the things that you need it to be. So, fast forward to February of 2024, I woke up and I hadn't had an Arizona dream in a while, but it would happen every year. Probably twice a year I'd have Arizona dreams. And it got to the point where every year I would get up for the game and I'd look and then everything would fall apart. The last couple of years I had been like, yeah, screw you. Screw you guides. You're sending me this dream. I know what this means. I'm not getting involved. I'm not doing it. I'm not playing your game. I'm not going down that road because every time I go down that road, I get so excited and then my hopes are crushed. Everything is desolate. Everything just dissipates and my heart can't take it because I really want to be there. I know that I'm being called to be there. So I woke up in February with that dream and I was like, a double fuck you, guides, a double fuck you, universe. I'm not fucking doing it. Day 2, the next day, another Arizona dream. I did another double. The 3rd day in a row, waking up with that Arizona dream. I was like, all right, you're being persistent. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get a little sassy. And every time I do any kind of home search, apartment search on my iPad, everything shuts down and I can never get pictures. I can never get any. This has been going on for years with the iPad for whatever reason. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's a psychic thing. Maybe it's an energetic thing. I have no idea. But it's either laptop or phone or bust. Can't do the iPad. So I was like, all right, you're telling me to go and do research. You're telling me that I need to pay attention to Arizona. You're telling me that, now's the time to move. So I'm going to do the research on my iPad and we're going to see how that goes. And so that's exactly what I did. And I shit you not, I was able to do the research. There was no shutting down of the iPad. There was no issue with receiving the images or, checking out this site or that site. Everything was loading up. And I was like, okay. So I did a little research. I did research for maybe about 3 days. And then I just put it to the side because I was like, all right, I have no idea how I'm going to get here. I don't have the money to make a cross-country move. I can't see a path. So I just said, all right, guides, if this is where I'm supposed to be, you're going to need to make it happen. You're going to need to make it happen. And I don't want to give up my lifestyle. I don't want to give up my quality of life. I don't want to move somewhere to have less than what I have now. It needs to be, I want to say, a lateral move or an upgrade. Otherwise, I'm out. I'm not interested. And I literally let it go. And for months, I didn't even think about it. I declared it with a couple of friends. I've been told that I'm moving to Arizona. I'm not attached to the outcome of it. I have no idea what timing it is. I am not A-typing this at all. I am literally just a wet noodle. It's going to be what it's going to be, and that's the way it's going to be. August, I got that text. And initially, I was like, holy fuck balls, what is happening? And this isn't right. And I don't have the money to do this. And I don't understand what's going on. And I went into spin cycle for about an hour, maybe a little less than an hour. And then it hit me, wait a second. I manifested this. This tower is happening because it's shifting my perspective. It's letting me know, my guides are letting me know, they're giving me what I asked for. They're telling me, hey, we've got a path for you. We've got a way for you to be able to do this. And so we are pulling the rug out from under you so that you can't miss this message. We're making it so freaking obvious that you can't miss this message. And this is happening for you. This is happening to help you to get to where it is that you want to be, to where it is that you have been manifesting, dreaming, co-creating for all of these years. And guess what? You're ready. But you don't think you're ready. You've closed off of that. And so we have to give you that big wake-up call. And that's that universal frying pan to the head. And once I opened up to that, once I saw the progression of that, and I said, oh yeah, this is that shift in perspective. So this isn't about, Stacey, you can't have the thing that you want. You can't afford to do the thing that you want. It's, you've asked for this. And so we are figuring it out. And all you have to do is trust and follow the breadcrumbs, right? Follow the guidance. And we've done it in such a way where you can't stay here any longer. You can't stay here because you literally can't afford to stay here. And that was the big tower moment for me. so many freaking tower moments in my life, I can't even keep track of them all. And they're doozies. There have been some really serious ones that have, I want to say, knocked me out, ones that have taken years for me to understand. One of the biggest tower moments is what has brought me here today. And it was 5 years in the making. And I want to say to you, I'm still in that, that transformative arch. I'm still in that Phoenix arch. It's not complete, but I will say to you, I'm definitely in that Phoenix rising space. I'm no longer Phoenix growing. I'm no longer Phoenix emerging. I'm not burning. The burning already happened. That was that tower, that sudden event. Now I'm in the Phoenix rising, and this is that experimental phase. I like to say, new baby bird, wings wet, ready to take on the world. And that's where I'm at today. And that is what the Tower card brought to me. Yes, it brought destruction. It brought mayhem. It brought chaos. It brought pain. But it has also cleared the decks for this incredible, amazing new version of me that I am literally creating as I go. And I like her. I'm still getting to know her. There's some aspects of her that I'm like, we got to tweak that. But ultimately, this Tower card has been the shift in perspective that I needed. Because where I was at in my mind and in my heart and in my life, I was limiting myself. I was keeping myself in this box. I was not going to be able to grow out of that. And I certainly had no vision of what that looked like, the journey to get there. I just knew this is where I want to be and this is how I want to feel. And I'm going to say to you, the Tower card helps us with manifestation because that's the key to ideal manifestation. I like to say it's reverse engineering it. Go with how you want to feel. Even if you don't know how you're going to get there, even if you don't have all the proper instructions or the steps or the right course of action to take, go with universe. I don't know how you're going to make this happen, but this is how I want to feel. This is the kind of life that I want to wake up to, that I want to be in. And I leave that with you, and you figure out the how and the when. I don't need to put my time and my energy to that. I just need to be open to answering the call. And a Tower, folks, is the call. It's a difficult one. It's a bitter pill to swallow at times, but it is the call. Are you being called? And where in your life are you maybe not answering the call? Maybe you're resisting or avoiding because you're afraid of change. The Tower card, by the way, also in certain cases, not all cases, but in certain cases can be avoided if you pay attention to the breadcrumbs. When the universe is trying to redirect you, when they're trying to call attention to something, you don't have to have the universal frying pan to the head. You can say, all right, I'm picking up what you're putting down and I'm going to start to look for that new job. I'm going to start getting my resume up and running. I'm going to start letting people know that I'm open to new experiences. And that means that when that Tower moment happens, you're prepared. But there are often times in our lives when we choose to resist. And that's when the Tower card becomes the catastrophic experience that we see depicted in this image. So it doesn't have to be that way. Where in your life are you not answering the call and not listening to what your guides are preparing you for? It's so much easier to lean in and make the change in the flow than it is to have everything crushing down. But when it does crush down for you, it's giving you an opportunity to shift your perspective. is our episode of Day Drinking in Tarot, where we are getting to know the Tower card. As always, it's such a pleasure to connect with you guys, to share my love of tarot, to talk a little wine, to enjoy a little day drinking, because boy, do we ever need it. We need a little joy in our lives. And we need to also be given the opportunity to understand ourselves. As my mother likes to say, warts and all, getting into the shadow, trying to understand why life brings us the lemons and how we're supposed to create the recipe for the lemonades. So here is to the Tower card. Here is to fresh perspectives, and we will see you for another episode. Take care and transform well. Dun dun dun! It's the Death card! And guess what? Spoiler alert, when the Death card comes up, no, it doesn't mean you're gonna die. No, it doesn't mean necessarily that someone in your life is gonna die. What it really symbolizes is change. So, just because someone is a psychic doesn't necessarily mean that they are a medium that wants to talk to your Aunt Tessie and your Uncle Bob. This is a huge myth out there. I can talk to your loved ones in spirit, but it's not my main forte. It's not my main mode of receiving. I tend to be a medium for the archangels, the ascended masters, for your spirit guides, for those higher guides out in the world. Shalom all, Stacy the Black Feather Intuitive, and welcome to Myth Busting the Metaphysical, one of my favorite episodes. And I have no idea what we're going to be talking about, but I have my trusty cohort, Keone, is joining me today. Keone, how the hell are you?
That's never a good question. No, I'm doing all right. I haven't slept in 3 daes, but I'm doing fine.
Oh, I know. The sleeping has been weird for me too. I think there's just a lot of for the last 5 years, we can say there's been a lot of chaotic energy, duh. But just this last week, I've noticed sleep is just elusive. I wake up every couple of hours and lots of dreams and lots of weirdness. So yeah, I feel you.
Oh, mine has to do with PTSD, night terrors, insomnia, and depression, but we'll get into that later. I wish there was a simpler answer for mine, but let's get into my myth. We have a lot of people that ask questions, so thank you guys for emailing or putting them in chat or commenting on questions. So, of course, we have our funny ones, and then we have ones that are more serious. I even love this one that says, if you're a hot mess, will your cards start roasting you instead of helping you? That was by Sean O'Donnell. If you're a hot mess, will your cards start roasting you instead of helping you?
Aw, I feel bad. Okay, so here's the truth of it. Our cards are simply a tool that reflects back to us our own frequency and our own energy. And so I'm going to say to you, if you are a hot mess, your cards are going to let you know that you're a hot mess because it's reflecting back to you what it is that you need to see. Do you feel roasted in that regard? I don't know. I mean, I know I have some, I actually just recently did a Divinely Decked episode on my channel that you can feel free to watch if you're interested, where I talked about the frying pan clarity decks, those tarot and oracle decks that basically hit me over the head with that clarity when I'm, a hot mess, when I'm not paying attention, when I'm not doing the things I'm supposed to be doing. So, is it fun to have that level of, I want to say, directness? Not so much. But I want to say sometimes, it is what it is. We are what we are. We're behaving the way we're behaving. And if we want something to change, we need to do that. So, yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah, I feel like you're probably getting your ass roasted, and I'm sorry about that.
That goes along. Oh, there's a name. That goes along with the question Luca Moretti asks. It says, can a psychic read you if you're emotionally constipated and full of lies?
Oh my God. So, okay. So I'm going to say to you.
That's a good one. If you're someone it's a vibe check too. And if you're so disingenuous, and there's some people, there's a difference between someone who lies, we've all told a lie, a habitual liar, and then you get to that extreme lying where they lie so much that it's actually reality.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's
That's,
no,
I mean,
there's no, yeah.
pathological. Yeah. You can't do anything about that, because when I read someone's energy, I'm reading what they need to hear. So it's from their perspective, it's from their own life, it's from their guides. So if they're a pathological liar, which means that they actually buy into the lies that they tell, that's how people can fake lie detectors, right? When they do a lie detector test, they succeed in that because they actually believe what it is that they're saying, or what they're saying is based in some level of truth. I can't speak for other psychics. I can only speak for myself, that I have run into those situations before. One that I'm thinking about right now, it was a couple that I was reading for, and that's always a sticky situation.
Uh,
You have to be very careful. I'm all about confidentiality and that kind of thing. So, like, I never mention to the one that I've read the other, or that I've seen the other, or anything like that, and I just try to keep it. Well, I discovered, like, with one in this particular situation, there was a lot of that lying, that deceit. I want to say a lot of obsessive energy, kind of, lying behavior. And I'm not going to say to you that I told her, you got to stop the lies. What I'm going to say to you is I kept seeing this person, this energy around her that was creating a lot of this chaos, and that was, being dishonest, that was not telling her the truth. Now, she took that to be her partner. Come to find out, she was the one that was creating all of that. So the way it came through me was that her guides were trying to point out, in a way that she could receive, hey, you might be the problem here, or these behaviors might be something that you're, sort of, you're wanting to look at. So yeah, I want to say, I can't speak for all psychics, but as me, I have run into that situation where I'm like, okay, I'm just the messenger and I'm just passing on the information. However,
oh,
that information gets, sort of gets applied or gets used, I guess, is the best way to go about it. Am I
oh,
answering that question?
oh, you're so, I don't know. I lost you 5 minutes ago. You,
Sorry.
you are so much more responsible with your power. See, this is why I can't have powers. I'm irresponsible. Like, I would literally be like, sir, have you ever heard of a guy named Kevin? What? I'm feeling there's a guy named Kevin in there. I'd be so irresponsible with what the other partner is telling me. They'd also keep
Yeah.
paying me a lot of money because I'd always be right for some reason. Until they figure out they've been going to the same psychic, right?
Right.
Um,
Exactly. Over and over and over again.
Here we are. Anastasia. Oh, that's a blast from the past. Anastasia, are generational curses real, or are they just trauma and spiritual trench coat?
Wow, what a great question, Anastasia. And by the way, cool name. I love it. My name Stacy comes from Anastasia.
And
So
if you don't believe in generational curses, become a Stevens and you'll see that they are true. But
you'll
I'll
see
let
that
Stacy
they are
answer
true. I want to say to you,
that.
that's absolutely true. Generational curses. Well, how do I put this? Let me back up. I actually don't believe in curses for myself. What I believe is that if you believe that curses exist, then they absolutely exist for you, because that is part of the experience that you're choosing to have. What I will say to you is an absolute truth is that there is generational healing that we can get caught up in energetically. It's part of our blueprint. It's part of our life path that we come into. For example, a very dysfunctional family, and I'll just use my experience as an example. I was born into a really dysfunctional, really abusive family situation, and I mean, I had to learn how to kind of grow out of that. I went through a whole bunch of, like, protection stuff, and me being who I am, the family was also very religious bound. And so there was a lot of, you know, stuff about me that nobody really talked about. And, you know, I'm a Gen Xer. So, like, I was the generation that, you know, raised myself and fed myself most of the time, you know, from 5 years of age, you know, things of that nature. So, there was a lot of that stuff. But then when I looked as I got older and I started to learn a little bit more about myself, and I happen to identify as a starseed, when that languaging came into my world, it was a big game changer for me, because I was like, oh, that explains why my whole family, whenever I say something, they think I'm crazy, or I'm the black sheep, or I'm the purple unicorn of the family. And yet I'm the one that's supposed to be bringing the healing, bringing out the different, walking the different path, to give others around me the opportunity to see that there might be another way to go about things. And with generational curses, so to speak, or generational patterns, I also had to walk my own path in order to break those patterns, in order to heal for myself. And through that process, I have also noticed that other family members have taken a path of their own healing, and things have shifted. I also noticed, like, from an ancestral perspective, and you go back through the generations, in my family in particular, there's been a lot of alcoholism. And I can, like, trace it back, like, back and back on both sides of the family. It's ironic that I do day drinking and tarot. I actually am so grateful I don't have that sort of alcoholism gene, but I have been raised in it, and witnessed it on so many different levels, that I understand how that I've got the awareness around it, so I can make different choices, but I also have the awareness around it so that I can understand when other people around me are running into that situation as well. And then through how I choose to, mm, I guess, live my life, I can be a healer. I can step into that. So, using me as an example, I'm going to say to you, absolutely, those generational things do exist. And just about every single light worker on this planet, anyone who feels that they're here to help people, have something in their family that they're working on and working through. So I would say to you, yeah, that is true.
Awesome. You know what? I'm reading these questions that we got today, and a lot of them aren't myth questions. They're more like, ask her this. It's like, this is not the Ask Stacey a Question segment, which is what it turned into. Here's a question that could be a myth. And I like that some of them are myths, but it's the way they're phrasing the question. Stacy says, "Hey, we have another Stacy. Can Sage fix your life, or do you still have to go to therapy and stop texting your ex?" So the myth in that question is Sage an end all be all fix?
Yeah, I'm going to say absolutely not. Sage, once again, is a tool that you can use. But yeah, if you're needing the therapy, get your ass to therapy. It's going to be worth its weight in gold. I mean, you can smoke yourself out with Sage while you're in therapy. I think that would probably help maybe the situation, help it along. It's a tool to support you. But yeah, no, you definitely still have to do the work. And it's about accountability, peeps. It's about accountability. Only you can make the changes to your life that you want to see happen. You know, if you're going to sit and wait around for someone else to change, you'll be waiting until the cows come home. So it's all on us. What life do I want to live? And what action steps can I take to make that happen?
Never did I think I was going to get a cows come home reference by you, but we've got it. That was not on my bingo card. Here's
Maybe you're
one.
using the wrong bingo card. Well,
Here's
that would be an interesting episode, because I
one.
do make up my own language, and you've known me for long enough now. There's probably so many different sayings that I have that we could do the bingo card to
I
see how
probably
many times
could.
it takes me to say something.
The thousand quotes of Stacy.
Yes,
Um,
that's funny.
ooh, here's one. This is from. Let me make sure I get their name. Oh, Jackson Reed. Okay. Is it true that oracle cards are just tarot's prettier, less committed cousin?
Oh my God, these are great. I love these. People
Yeah.
are so creative. Okay. So oracle cards are different. Tarot is a system of divination. It's been around for a really, really long time. I like that you called, oracle like the cousin, because I would say it is a cousin of tarot. It is designed to give you guidance, but I want to say it's not as rigid, as tarot can be. Tarot is a system, and you sort of stick within the system. Whereas an oracle, you pick a theme and you build a deck around that theme. You know, yeah, I feel like I'm dropping the ball on that. What was the question again?
The question was, is it true that oracle cards are just tarot's prettier, less committed cousin?
So funny. Okay. So with tarot cards, I would say to you, yeah, they can definitely be prettier. They're a little more focused on, on their theme, but they're just as important as, I would say, as tarot. They're going to give you just a different perspective of the guidance, a different approach to the guidance. Mr. Neo prefers tarot to oracle, don't you? Yeah.
All right. And then here's a question. Let me make sure I get this right. This is from Nathan Franks. Is there a special place in the astral plane for people who only want yes or no answers?
Oh my God, these are crazy. Okay, let me just tune in for that one because I'm not even sure how to answer that.
Is there a special
Yes,
place for
there is, and I feel like it's what they're showing me is like different layers of the frequencies that we can raise ourselves into. I feel like they're showing me layers, and it feels like the yes and no questions are like the first layer, and it's you have to get silent, you have to get quiet within yourself to receive it.
these two last ones? I don't know what was in the water when I got these batch of questions from people. For instance, do your spirit guides roll their eyes when you ask about the same man for the fifth time?
Oh my God, I've asked that particular question a number of times, because I drop F bombs all the time, and I swear I'm like, I get mad and I curse at my guides, and people are like, you shouldn't do that. I'm like, why the fuck not? Like, come on now. Like, they're a part of us, right? So, like, if they know me, they know what my intentions are around that. No, our guides do not feel exasperation and frustration and lack of patience in the ways that we do. So whereas we might judge a situation and roll our eyes, on the inside or on the outside, when
Mhm.
somebody is, brought up the same thing for the 17th time, but our guides don't. They see it very differently. They see it as this person is here learning this lesson, and they might need to hear it 17 times before they actually get the message. And so our job is to deliver that information as many times as we need to. We anthropomorphize everything, we humanize everything. Our angels and guides, not all of them have had a human experience. Not all of them want to have a human experience. They all serve their purpose in their different ways. So, no, they don't judge us. They don't roll their eyes at us. We're the ones who judge ourselves.
That is so not true. It's the first time in history I'm going to disagree with her because I have actually heard my guides go, Jesus, what now? And then Jesus goes, huh? They're like, I'm not talking to you. It's Keone. He, again, with this guy. I feel like that's what my guys do. Again, Keone.
There are several really incredible memes out there that describe that. Like me or my guides when they're telling me, that I need to do something, and then
Uh-huh.
there's angels with like their hair all staticky, and they're like, oh my God, or people like on the roller coaster, here we go again. Yeah. Well,
We
I
have
think,
a good experience
honestly,
with
I
people
think a
too.
lot of our guides are going to say that stuff. You know what I mean? Like we're because we know that we're frustrating. That's
Yeah,
the issue. We're judging ourselves.
I know they do it. I know Michael sometimes goes, you know what? I'm out of office. Metatron, take this one. I already know it. You don't have to. You don't have to try to be PR for them, Stacy. I know
Okay.
it. You know it. Um,
All right. I'm not sugarcoating shit.
can a real psychic, can a real psychic ever guarantee an outcome, or is that spiritual malpractice?
Oh my God. These are great. Okay. So no one can inflict their free will on another person. I would say to you that a psychic can give you a good psychic, a real psychic can give you potentials and possibilities. And at the end of the day, it's up to you what you choose. And what you choose, the choices that you make, the action steps that you take are going to determine the path that you're on. But ultimately, you're the only one who can actually make anything work or stick in your life.
And these last two are a doozy. Okay, these
Okay,
last two are
lay it on.
a doozy. This is a serious question from Megan. Megan. Okay. Can oracle readings be used to manipulate people? And how do you know if that's happening? Because we know throughout history, especially dealing with a time where it was more prevalent, during the domination of Greek and Roman times, they always confirm with oracles. And that's who I think about when I think of oracle readings. they I was watching a historian talk about how tarot and oracle readers back in the day, they wouldn't know they were tarot and oracle readers because they knew what problem was coming to them, and they'd pull the cards ahead of time so the person would never even see the cards. So they were never they never put two and two together, because in
Mm,
some places that was seen as taboo, so they
right.
would do it in secret. And we know that people have used oracle readings in history to manipulate situations and events. So, how do you feel about that now?
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. Wherever you go, there are people, wherever people are, you're going to run into that. You're going to run into people who choose to use their gifts to manipulate. Speaking of, this is not oracle, but this is tarot. The magician card in the tarot often talks about the resources that you have to be able to alchemize and manifest what it is you want to experience and create. But on the flip side of that, or the reverse of that, is manipulation. A magician plays with illusion, right? And so, yeah, there are a ton of people. It's really sad, how many people still, the old term, the old style term is charlatan. Somebody who's a charlatan that gave psychics a bad name, right? You're a soothsayer and you have stolen my money. I'll tell you, there is an individual. Yeah, exactly. The fortune teller stuff. That's what gives us all a bad rap. Two quick stories. I have a friend that I went to university with who was in a very vulnerable time and started going to this particular psychic and working with this psychic around whatever issues. And the psychic told him one day to bring a bundle of $10,000, and in front of, like, they did a whole ritual. This psychic convinced him to burn that $10,000, to burn it in a bowl ceremoniously. Now, I'm going to tell you, he was vulnerable. I feel bad for him, but also, like, use your discernment. Like, come on now. I would never have, even in my most vulnerable days, I would never have done that. But he tells me later, years later, when he tells me about this story, he thinks that actually what transpired was that she replaced the money with a fake stack of money and kept that $10,000. Now, that is not someone who is a psychic. That is not someone who has gifts. That is a grifter. That is a con artist, right? Which is why it's so important when we are connecting to the metaphysical, or when we're reaching out to connect with people who can be, sort of the go-between or whatever, if you feel that that's what you need to connect with your guides, that you have to go with what feels right to you, what resonates with you, and use your discernment around this. I mean, like, that's just, it's so important, to be able to do that. The other story I'm going to give you really quickly is I can't tell you
I don't.
how many. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I said, hold on, I don't know this guy, but I'm going to tell you what also helps is being poor because I don't know a poor person who's burning $10,000 when they finally get it.
No, I know. Like I was blown away when
Yeah.
he told me what he had done. I was like, why didn't you talk to me about this beforehand? Because I would have told you, don't fucking do it. Like, what the hell?
And
But
that's not the only time she's done that magic trick.
oh no, I mean that's the magician, right? That's the illusionist that swipes things out. But I mean, like, even just to like take advantage of somebody that's in a vulnerable state, like, shame on them. But that's not someone who's psychic. That's someone who is just observant, and someone who is a grifter,
And it's
who's
crazy
on.
the people that do those type of things, not just in the psychic realm, but people who do that in any type of realm. The way they logicalize it is if the people are, and I'm not calling these people stupid, but if people are stupid enough to do it, then it's not my fault for taking it. And that's their rationalization,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, they have to live with themselves in that
Mhm.
regard.
Well,
Small
some of them
comfort,
can.
right?
That's the thing. I can't sleep at night stealing someone's money, but some of these people sleep very
Some
easily.
people
That's why
sleep
they can
very
do
well.
it.
Yeah.
That's the scary part.
Well, I have to tell you, it blows my mind that even to this day, in back in North Carolina on Glenwood Avenue, anyone who lives in the Raleigh area is going to know what I'm talking about. There is this tiny little house, just like a ramshackle house,
Mhm.
off of Glenwood, with the psychic sign, neon sign in the window. Psychic readings here. She's got a sign out there. She has a 1-star rating on Google because people go to her, and I've had so many clients who've come to me and said, I went to her and she did the whole, oh my God, you have a curse on you, and for $500 or $5,000, whatever the amount is, I can remove the curse. That to me is so despicable. But what blows my mind is that, yes, I have clients from North Carolina that went through that, but I also have clients from around the world who have shared with me that they've had similar experience. So this is a regular con that a lot of people use, and it always surprises me. But it's because they get people who are desperate, people
Well,
who are like, I don't understand what to do, and I've tried everything. Maybe I should go to a psychic, and they just pick the random one.
mhm.
It's
It's
terrible.
also a laziness in this day and age with the internet to tell the same people the same thing over and over again as if it was back in the days where people didn't communicate
Yeah,
as like
but you
that's
know what? She still gets
more
people knocking on her door. She's been in business for like 20 years. So what
like
does that tell you?
that's terrible.
Yeah.
Uh,
So yeah, it's true. There are people out there that will absolutely take advantage. And I say to you, the way that you can combat that, if you don't trust your own spidey senses around it, if you don't trust yourself enough to know, is it okay to pick this person or to pick another person, go with reviews, Google reviews, and go with referrals. I know that's been a big thing in my business since I started in 2014, is referrals. I get so many people who've had the experience. You get one person who takes the risk, has a positive experience, maybe sends a review, but also tells their friends. And then their friends are like, oh my God, okay, great. I've been looking for someone, or I didn't know that I could, I didn't want to go to that person down the street, or I've just been really anxious and I didn't want to spend my money, if I
uh,
was blow my money away. So ask questions.
who are you telling? My boss calls me literally once a week to remind me that everything in her year-end review is happening. Even this month, she had someone that she hadn't talked to in 3 years that came and asked her for a substantial amount of money. You said that was going to happen in August. Everything that you said was going to happen every month when stuff happens, she goes back to her notes and look what you said, and then she calls me. Keone, she said that. She said that my niece would do this. She said that my husband would do this. She said that my mother would do this. And it happened in the same exact month. The snake in the grass one was the best one for us because in February you said there was going to be a snake in the grass, and we found the snake. So It's crazy. So she's definitely getting one this year, and I don't have to pay for it now that I took the risk paying for it and letting her go do it. Now I'm gonna do it
Girl,
all.
yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna do it on our own. So if I can only do that 10,000 more times, you'd be able to retire.
I'd be able to retire. It'd be fabulous. Oh,
Uh,
that's very sweet, and I'm glad that it's all come to pass. I wish I could say to you it's 100%. It's not always 100%, but I do. I would say that I'm more often getting the right information for people than
oh,
not. And what's off is sometimes just the timing of things.
remember when you said the only thing that we said you got wrong in that whole year is in October she's gonna be on a beach somewhere with her feet up, and we were like, yeah,
I
right.
don't remember, but okay.
I'm just throwing it out there. And we were like, yeah, okay. Number one, she doesn't have time to do that. Number two, in October, we have to be in LA to do our event. Well, she forgot she's got to go 4 days before she goes to LA. So she's like, I'm going to go to my hometown of La Jolla. I said, you know what's in La Jolla, don't you? She goes, what? I said, a beach. She was like, right. So, hey, make it happen. All right. Well, that's our myth busting episode today. And we also did some cat busting, but that's a different
Yes.
segment.
Cat busting with Mr. Neo. And, he's just a little lover, but he's also a camera hog. He always wants to be, as soon as I'm working, filming, doing anything, he's like, oh, it's time for me, mama. It's time for me. The world wants to see me. And it's true. They do want to see him. My videos with the cat always do better than any of my other videos. I think people just really like the animals. Are you wanting me to close out?
Yeah. That's why I was like, that's been our myth busting episode. Mark, leave this part out. That's why I said, this has been our myth busting episode as well as cat busting. And then I turned it over to you. I'm sorry.
Okay, so that is our myth busting metaphysical for today. And until we get a chance to see you on another episode,
I'm so sorry. Hold on. I got to mess you up. And we're keeping it in the video. Now the other cat's like, wait, what's all this Mr. Neo talk? What about me?
All right, what about me and Mr. Morpheus? It's like fucking Animal King.
Morpheus is the black cat? Did you do that on purpose?
He's my gray kitty. I call him my ghost kitty because all of the furniture in my house is gray, and he gets lost in it.
Oh my god!
He needs to love all the time. You're like, I can't even get over this. This is fucking crazy.
Well, I just love that Morpheus is the black or gray kitty. That just makes my day.
That's my baby. That's my baby. This is a segment that is all for my fellow starseeds, light workers, sensitives, healers, empaths. Get into my happy place and channel one of the archangels. We are going to pull a feather from the feather jar and let's see what the energies want us to know. We are talking about the psychic realm. Color is yet another tool that can help us. This is really all about going beyond the predictiveness of readings. Hello all, Stacy the Black Feather Intuitive, and welcome to this segment of Black Feather Couture Divining a VIP Life, and we are doing some angel connections. And this is a segment where I go in and I channel an archangel or an ascended master or whoever wants to come through and give us a message, but usually it's an archangel. And I have my trusty feather bag here. And we're going to pull a feather from this little feather bag. And it's got all sorts of archangels and words and comfort and all sorts of things on there. So let's just pull a feather and see what oh, interesting. Safkiel, sacred lover. So we are going to I'm going to go into my happy place and I'm going to connect with Archangel Zapkiel, the sacred lover. He is the angel that is in charge of sensuality and sacred love. So let's give it a shot. For those of you who are new to me, if you've never been through sort of a channeling experience, I close my eyes. I do some, crazy deep breathing. I kind of step outside of myself. I'm still present in my body, but I'm kind of away. And another being or another entity uses my body, uses my voice, uses what's in my mind to speak to you guys and to pass on a message. So it's pretty cool. I always like to say, suspend your disbelief and just really be open to the process. Also, through these messages, sometimes people might feel a bit emotional, teary-eyed. You might laugh. All of that is completely normal in the process because there's also an exchange of energy. So let's get to it. Greetings, dear ones. I am known as Archangel Zapkiel, and I am honored and humbled to be connecting with all of you today, for I am not an archangel that many feel a connection with or to. I have not had my vibrational name shouted from the rooftops, as you say, on your planet, but I am always working on your behalf in the background. And today, dear souls, I wish to speak with you on the matter of love. This particular vessel speaks often of love as a frequency versus a feeling. And this is a very important distinction to make, specifically at this time on your planet, where there is so much that is evolving in quick succession. And love as a frequency is often misunderstood by humanity. The frequency of love is woven throughout all things, people, environments, all that is this planet of Gaia, of Mother Earth, as you refer to her. It is the essence that gives life, and there are different layers of this essence, much as you have different radio frequencies. This would be a good analogy to describe the frequencies of love that exist. Sometimes the frequency is lower on the spectrum. Sometimes it is quite high on the spectrum. But it is important to denote that it is all love. And when you connect with another, when you have interaction and engagement with another, you are, in essence, interacting with their love frequency. They have the ability to express that love frequency to you based on how they are humanly feeling in that moment. For example, if a being wakes up one morning feeling quite sad and despondent or a bit anxious about some of the choices that they have made for their day, when you interact with them on the street, you will pick up on that lower vibrational anxiety. It does not mean that that lower vibration is negative or bad. It simply means that it is a lower vibrational component that that person is connected to at this time. And that is what they are sharing with you. That is the exchange that occurs. There are many of you listening who are empathic, considered empaths, which means that you absorb frequencies and energies connected to thought forms and feelings in a way that not all of humanity has the ability to do. But it is important to understand that even if you are an empath and connecting to another individual who is not an empath, they still receive in the exchange. They still have some level of resonance with what has been transmitted between the two of you during the time that you crossed paths and therefore blended your frequencies. When you are considering this concept, what does this all mean for you at this time? How does this help you and help humanity at this time? For this vessel likes to say, sometimes love is not enough to resolve a situation or a conflict or a resolution. And I would offer to you that love as feeling is often not enough to achieve the desired outcome. But love as frequency can always be adjusted. Love as frequency always has an answer, always has a solution and a soul-lution. And it is for your highest and best now, if you choose to receive these words and to apply this wisdom to your life and to your world at this time, to understand that you have the capacity and the ability to raise or lower your frequency. You have the ability to match a frequency that you are encountering within another person. And you also have the ability to raise your frequency, thereby raising the other person's frequency and experience. This is not about getting involved in another's free will. This is not to say that you are standing in the way of another person's chosen path. But it does mean and indicate that when you do have an interaction with that person who woke up in the morning feeling despondent and anxious, that when you mingle your energy with theirs, when you cross their path and you sense, feel, or know that their energy vibration is lower, their frequency is lower, you can be intentional about raising yours ever so slightly to give them a little bit of a boost. This does not positively or negatively influence their choices, but it does give them a leg up. And that, dear human souls, is what being human is all about. That frequency of love allows you to feel the connection, to feel the oneness that all of you truly are. Yes, you have differences in this physical form to a rock or to a shoe or to a dog or a bird. But at the end of the day, as it were, all of your soul lights and soul essences come from the same source. The I am that I am, the all that is. This is the divine source presence that runs through everyone and everything. You are all at present having this unique human experience that creates the illusion of physicality, the illusion of separation. But the goal of this game is to remember the connection, to experience the self individuated, and so that you can come back as the one, feeling more enriched and enlivened. So when you are having connection and interaction with another being, with another creature, with an object, I encourage you to bring presence and awareness to the frequency, to the love essence that is flowing through the object or the person, and to become aware of where your frequency lies and raise it just a little bit. You can do this with thought intention. You can do this with color and light. You can do this by generating a feeling or a sensation within the body and simply thinking higher, thinking more expansive. You can simply wish that person well and mean it when you say it, and feel a connection within the body as the words leave your body and travel into that individual's ears. All of this increases frequency. And what you do for yourself, within yourself, does have effect on all that you encounter. Love as frequency is always enough. Love as feeling has limitation. It is connected to the human condition, the human experience. And it is not to say that it is good or bad or less than. It is simply different. And its purpose served is different than the love as frequency, which exists in the all. I have enjoyed this interaction and this exchange of love as frequency energy. Please call upon me whenever you have need of a connection, of an interaction, or of simply a conversation with a friend. I am here to serve. And in that service, I take my leave. Be well. Okay. I have not channeled Archangel Zafkiel in a really long time. It's probably been years. So this was exciting for me to be able to tap into his energy, and wow, I can't wait to hear this message back. Whenever I channel, I don't really recall or retain what comes through. So I'm looking forward to hearing this. That is our segment of Angel Connections. I hope you have enjoyed this, and we will see you in the next segment. Transform well. This is a segment that is all for my fellow starseeds, light workers, sensitives, healers, empaths. Get into my happy place and channel one of the archangels.